Specs. Please buy some of my merch exposed.
Skip it up and that up.
So we know next-gen consoles are coming. I just talked about how the Xbox Series S may be released on November 5th, and the Xbox Series X is going to come on November 6th. I don't know if I completely believe that rumor, but it's a thing. Well, anyway, though, this is more interesting. Tom Warren from The Verge actually released a detailed spec sheet for both the Series X, which we know most of the specs for, and the Series S. And it's going to have compute performance of a little less than 4 teraflops, 3.97. But here we go. This is what he posted on Twitter. We'll talk about the specs, and then we will discuss. So Tweaktown did a great overview of the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S specs. We know the thing exists now. Here's one of the missing gaps, though, where they talk about GPU performance, 20 compute units at 1.55 gigahertz, because in the spec sheet here it doesn't say that. But anyway, so GPU power, 12.15 teraflops with the Series X. We'll go with 4, even though it's a little less than 4 for the Series S. Both have the same 7 nanometer system on a chip. At least the CPU cores are the same. And from what we're seeing here, initially I heard that the CPU was exactly the same on the Series S, but it was a lower clock speed. Apparently, according to this spec sheet, they're both running at 3.8 gigahertz inside of the Series X and Series S. That's interesting. We already talked about the GPU. It's going to have 20 compute units at 1.550 gigahertz with the Series S. Series X, Navi RDNA 2 GPU with 52 compute units running at 1.825 gigahertz. The system RAM for the Series X is going to be 16 gigs, and on the Series S, it's going to be 10 gigs of RAM. And we know this already. The performance target is going to be 4K 60 or 8K gaming for the Series X. I'm still not on board with the 8K gaming, but okay. And the Series S is 1440p at 60 FPS. Hey, that's a nice balance right there. And here are the other two interesting things. The Series S, a lot of people were concerned about this. Even though it's not going to have a disk drive, it plays all Xbox One games, supports 360, OG Xbox games, and next-gen support. Like, of course, it's going to play the Series games. I guess they're going to call them Series games since there's 2 Xbox Series consoles. So I'm pretty happy with that spec sheet for the Series S. If it's $299, I think it's a nice balance of price and performance. And the numbers don't tell everything. And you could use that argument. Yes, you're 100% right. You could use that argument for the PlayStation 5 as well. Maybe the SSD tech that Mark Cerny was touting and everyone else is touting will make it a beast of a machine, and there'll be no differences in third-party ports. They'll look just as good on the PS5 as they will on the Series X. Because I do know that's the case here. A lot of people, this is why they discontinued the Xbox One X, because it would have confused people. A lot of people are going to say, Rich, the compute performance on the One X was 6 teraflops, and here it's just shy of 4 teraflops on the Series S. How is that a next-gen system? And a lot of it comes down to, one, it's based on RDNA 2, which is newer technology, more efficient, more powerful technology than the Xbox One X had. And the Zen 2 cores, which is the same cores that are in Ryzen 3000 chips, which are absolute monsters, as opposed to the horrific Jaguar cores that are in the, as of now, current gen consoles of the PS4 and Xbox One. It's more efficient. The chips are more powerful. The CPU is more powerful, meaning it will handle AI, physics better, bigger worlds. So even though you're not going to get the same resolution and it's not going to look as pretty on the Series S that it will in the Series X, it's going to be able to handle the next gen games no problem. It's like having a system with a Ryzen 9 3950X in it, and you have 2 of these systems, both with the Ryzen 9 3950X. One has a RTX 3090 in it, and one has an RX 580 in it. They could both play the same games, but on the RX 580 3950X rig, you'll have to play it at medium, maybe some high settings, some other games low settings at 1080p or 1440p. On the 3090 rig, you'll be able to max everything out at 4K 60. You won't be able to max everything out on a Series X, but you get my point. Same processor, different GPU, but they could play the same games because they have the same processor. That's what's going on here. So if the pricing we heard is true, I knew $199 was going to be thrown out the window for the Series S. Way too cheap. But if the pricing here for the Series S is true with these specs, I think that's a good balance. I think $299 is a good price point, and I'm excited to see both these consoles. I'm going to get both and see how they perform. This is Rich at Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one. Hey, if you enjoy my content, consider becoming a Review Tech USA member. I'll have a link below in the description. I live stream now on this channel all the time, and it gives you access to cool emoticons to use as well while I live stream. Again, link below in the description. Thank you for your continued support.